How's everybody this morning? My name is Chuck Bauer, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of this congregation. Welcome to all of you. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart is a welcoming community, encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual spiritual and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, and promoting a just and sustainable world. And that is our mission. If you'd like to learn more about this fellowship, please ask anyone wearing a name badge with any questions you may have. You can also check out our website at uufe.org. Please join us. You're all welcome to join us after the service in the gathering place on the far side for coffee and fellowship after the service. For the listening enjoyment of all, we ask you at this time to please set your phones to silent mode. Also, if you need hearing support, please ask for help back here in the corner at the sound desk. We have a few announcements for today. The first one is that because today's first Sunday of the month, we need to pick up all the chairs and move them to the sides of the sanctuary after the service for cleaning in here this week. Second, for those of you who know Carolyn Culver, who is Steve Kripe's sister and the wife of Dick Culver, who used to attend here, and Dick and Carolyn also happened to be my neighbors 30 years ago, when I was a kid. Okay. Yeah. You were invited to her birthday party. It is her 90th. So, or you could send her a card. And her 90th birthday celebration will be Saturday, January 17th. Note cards are on Ivy Island here in the foyer if you need her address for cards or more details for her party. Carl Rust has produced a rough cut of his short film, Yule and His Hopes for the Gods. It is about 30 minutes long and is about a man, Yule, who is experiencing a spiritual and mental crisis. Janelle plays Yule's sister in the film. Carl is doing a sneak peek screening here on Saturday, January 24th, tentatively at 2 p.m. It would be great if everyone could attend and give Carl encouragement and feedback before he submits to film festivals. So get these things on your calendar. Let's enjoy the film and have discussion and refreshments afterwards. Steve Kripe will be having surgery next week, so we need somebody to set up the chairs in here in the sanctuary for next Sunday's service after it's vacuumed in here. So typically you can do that on Friday or Saturday. That's all I have for announcements.
We ring the gong 3 times. Once for those who came before us and have made a place for us. Once for those who are here now. And once for those who will come after us and build in the dream. We light the chalice today to help us focus on where we have been and where we are going. We are as grains of sand along life's vast ocean front, to be shifted and swayed by nature's wind and water. Every day we wake to breathe to the breath of continued life. May we be grateful for life's turbulence, as well as the bright sunny days and everything in between, handed us in our short journeys on this beautiful earth. May this light remind us that we have only today, only one day at a time, to soak in the rain, snow, sunshine, light, and darkness. Any given day will offer us with no guarantees of a tomorrow. Let us celebrate this reality. If you would join me, you'll notice printed in your order of service the Unison Covenant. Let's read that together. Love is the spirit of this church. and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Thank you. The kids can now be dismissed to RE. If you're willing and able, would you please stand and turn to hymn number 298, and we'll sing all 5 verses. Wake now, my senses. Please stand. Thank you. When Kiki and I first started talking about the message today, back in November, the subject matter was to be determined. Epiphany entered the conversation. It's a new year, a new beginning. That was kind of guiding our discussion. My experience with this concept, or actual reality of epiphany was through the lens of Protestant Christian theology. I never thought about it in a real personal way that could affect my everyday life. I know that Kiki will be focusing on aspects of resolution for the new year, for example. I have her permission to share my thoughts on our original conversations about Epiphany. I want to share from the perspective of a timeless worldview originating when humans first inhabited this planet Earth. The dominant resource that this topic led me to was Gregory C.R. Williams' Timeless Sparks, the first book in the Epiphany Chronicles trilogy. On page 218 of this book, Williams defines the concept of epiphany in a 2-paragraph statement: the nature of the epiphany. An epiphany is more than a solution to a puzzling conundrum. It often carries a deep emotional and spiritual weight. It emerges out of a confrontation with suffering or a brush with wonder. catalyzing the intangible into something undeniably transformative. Take the experience of Harriet Tubman, whose personal experience of enslavement and subsequent escape crystallized into the unshakable belief that freedom only matters if shared. Her revelations did not simply solve the logistical problems of ferrying escapees along the Underground Railroad. They galvanized her unwavering sense of mission, turning fear into faith and personal deliverance into communal responsibility. A similar process can be seen in the realm of intellect and technology. When John McCarthy coined the term artificial intelligence, he had no way of predicting the extent to which computer systems would eventually mimic tasks and abilities once confined to human minds. Yet his conviction that a machine could reason through logic sparked decades of exploration and breakthroughs that would give rise to neural networks, machine translation, and self-driving cars. In these instances, epiphanies act as emotional lodestars, offering a unifying vision that outstrips the limitations of the present. Listen to this list of things covered in great detail in the book that have developed, occurred, or were the direct result of epiphanies experienced by various individuals. The gift of writing, from verbal conversation to scratching on a stone tablet. From classical Greece, we have Socratic wisdom and the pursuit of knowledge. Engineering expertise from Rome, producing aqueducts. Shinto and the sacredness of nature from Japan. From the Holy Roman Empire, the invention of the compass. During the French Empire, the People's Revolt and revolutionary visions ignited global dialogue about human rights and governance. The Austrian Empire was the source of seeking harmony among discord led by Mozart. The steam engine came from James Watts amidst the British Empire. Numerous pivotal epiphanies and religious revelations from all religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Pivotal epiphanies, author Williams labels as scientific sparks, were revealed by Homer, Plato, Archimedes, Da Vinci, Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, Antoine Lavoisier, the father of modern chemistry, Charles Darwin, Michael Faraday. The epiphany of electromagnetic fields, sparks of the modern age, including the atom, the quantum puzzle, and Albert Einstein and his relativity of wonder. Medical miracles, including penicillin, DNA, etc., etc., etc. This list is the tip of the iceberg of human development, fueled, ignited, and or fed by the flames of epiphany since the beginning of our civilization. Our offering this morning is going to be going to our budget item, the Sustainability Fund, 100%. So while we're collecting that offering, as you give as you're willing and able, please listen to The Walk of Life. It'll bring back some memories. Kirsten, or Kiki as all her friends call her, and she likes to be referred to, Klassen, grew up in Elkhart. She moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba for her education, where she studied psychology, literature, and writing. Then to Iowa, where she received a master's degree in business and technical communication. She worked as a writer and editor for local nonprofit organizations before retiring. She's had 2 young adult novels published. Her 3rd novel, The Jailer and His Daughter, is adult historical fiction and will be released in the spring of 2026. And I have already invited her back for the presentation of this book and maybe a book signing here at the church. She facilitates a weekly class at the Owls Club on writing for self-discovery. Plays contemplative she plays contemplative Scrabble, enjoys reading and attending community theater, especially staged readings. She is so grateful to this congregation for hosting the staged readings produced by the Elkhart Civic Theater for many years and introducing her to her first stage reading of Other Desert Cities, which was unforgettable. Kiki has other connections with UUFE going back several years, actually attending here, and I first got to know her at Owls Club in my class on mortality, and then we worked together on a committee, and Dave was on that committee too, where I was profoundly impressed with her organizational skills. You made our jobs very easy. You may notice she has her fan club here, some of them, with her this morning, and I am excited to say that I will be joining them this year, starting tomorrow in her self-discovery class. So Kiki, we really welcome your message. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to correct you. I know, Steve, you don't like to make mistakes, but I don't play contemplative Scrabble. I play competitive Scrabble, actually. So.
Is that what I said?
Contemplative, yes, you did. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It sounds interesting. Yes, it's very exciting to be here. Do you all have a piece of paper or an index card and a pen? So I'll ask you questions as we go. I'll tell you when you need to write something down. But I'll start with telling you about a man who lived many, many years ago in the year 525. He fell out of favor with the people in power and was sent to prison. You know this never happens in common days, right? Because he was a Greek scholar, he turned to philosophy for consolation. While he was in jail, facing execution, he began to write down his burning questions. Questions like, how can free will and predestination coexist? What is the nature of God? How is happiness to be achieved? What happens after we die? Some of these are questions we still care about, timeless questions. And all those years ago, Boethius asked these questions, and Lady Philosophy visited him in jail and answered them. The book he wrote, called The Consolation of Philosophy, is a conversation between an educated man on death row and the woman who offers a way to understand the world. So I was very impressed. I met Boethius writing when I was in college, and he influenced everyone. He influenced Chaucer and Shakespeare and Milton, and he's responsible for the concept, the Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes things are good, sometimes things are bad. So he really permeated a lot of our literature that we've grown up with. And to think about someone going into jail and deciding to write the questions the things he wanted to understand before he died, and then his book continuing to have all this impact all these years later is quite a remarkable thing to me. Today, just as in Boethius' time, we mark time in minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, and years. But the reason I mentioned Boethius today is because the concept of time figures prominently into the answer to one of his questions, how can free will and predestination exist? Lady Philosophy says that God sees the past, present, and the future all at the same time. In God's timeless, unchanging, eternal now, all moments are held at once, allowing for divine knowledge without negating free will. So God is eternal, possessing all life at once. The universe is while God is eternal, the universe is continual, experiencing time sequentially. So, we live in time. So whatever lives in time is a present proceeding from the past to the future, like every second. Like now we're already in the future. So the present is over, and now we're just always moving. So there's nothing in time, because we live in time, that can embrace the whole of our space of our lives together. We can't be like God. We can't see the past, present, and the future, and the past, present, and the future together. Thinking about this makes me want to experience more of life outside time. We all have them, moments when time disappears because we're with a friend, reading a book, gardening, or working on some creative project. But I'm suspicious of this urge in myself, this wanting to be freer of time. It is, after all, January of 2026, the beginning of a new year, and I have to consider whether I want to set a New Year's resolution or two. How many of you have made a New Year's resolution? One? All right. Two, maybe two. So I'm speaking to the right crowd here. How many of you think you have to start on January 1 for it to count? But there's only two of you, or three. Okay, and so since it's not important, then you don't care that it's January 4th today, so that's good. So you've been given an index card to write your answers down, so I'm going to ask you a few questions for you to consider, and don't be inhibited. You don't need to share your answers with anyone. They're just for you to help you explore your own thoughts and feelings. Imagine for a moment that you have superpowers. If you absolutely knew, without any doubt, that you could keep whatever resolution you made, what resolution would you make? Write this down. If you had superpowers and you knew that you could keep whatever resolution you made, what resolution would you make? Okay, you ready? One of the mistakes I make is believing that I can do anything and everything all at once. I've read all the material on changing only one habit at a time. It takes 6 weeks, that goals should be SMART. They should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, fitting the acronym SMART. Still, I persist with my unreasonable goals and relentless optimism, because 1 year I was successful. 1 year. In all the years I've made New Year's resolutions, there was one remarkable year where I set a resolution and kept it. It was 1989. I was 29 years old. I had just graduated with my master's degree, started my first full-time job. I was recently divorced, so it was not a happy time for me. I had no parents that needed my care. I had no children. I had very few responsibilities, comparatively. My goal was to write a novel that year. I'd never written one before. I made a resolution to write a minimum of 5 pages a week, and I did it. And I finished the novel in December. Still, as impressed as I am as I look back on this, I have to admit, I have not been able to replicate this in all the years since. I mean, I still write, but I can't trick myself or bargain myself into a certain number of pages or hours a day or a week or a month. I can't do it. It just doesn't work. I do write, but there are the battles that go on inside of me that I'm sure some of you understand all too well. Things like the allure of playing versus the discipline of sitting in front of a computer. Or as Freud might have said, the battle between the id and the ego, the id being the part of me that just wants to have fun, and the superego always bossing me around to get me to be productive. So now you have one resolution, you might make if you had superpowers. Let's try another approach. Imagine you're in a restaurant and you see someone sitting at a table. At the moment you notice them, their face is completely open. So the person beneath the mask is completely revealed to you. You see their burdens and their exhaustion, their struggles and disappointments, the grudges they hold, the anger they carry. You see their fears, their anxieties, their worries. And then, as you are studying them, the person looks directly into your eyes and you realize it's you. If you could make a resolution to lighten your burden, what would it be? Write this down. If you could make a resolution to lighten your burdens, what would it be? I know it's a hard one. Ready? Excited? Sometimes we're so accustomed to wearing our masks, we wear them even when we're alone. If we're honest with ourselves, if we can be courageous enough to face ourselves, to hold the gaze of the person we see in the mirror, we likely have some burdens we'd like to put down, to let go of, to not take to our deathbeds, to be free. We'd like to heave that backpack off our shoulders and leave it by the roadside, to walk away from it, to feel lighter, to make room for joy. Is it so hard to name our demons? Is it so hard to say, I've carried this for years, I'm letting it go now? So now you have a second potential resolution. Let's try another angle. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate how happy you are. 1 is least happy, 10 is the most. Write this number down. If you could make a resolution to gain 1 or 2 or even 3 points on this theoretical scale of happiness, what would that be? Write this down. If you could make a resolution to gain 1 or 2 or 3 points on your scale of happiness, what would that be? Some people are writing for a very long time, so I'm very excited. They have all kinds of things to do to make themselves happier. A few years ago, I suffered a significant loss. I think it's fair to say I was truly miserable for a while, maybe even a 0 on the scale of happiness. Then I became aware of what I was thinking. Things like, this broke my heart. I will never get over this. I have lost hope. I decided to replace these thoughts with other thoughts. Thoughts like, I'm a very strong person. With time, I can heal. No one knows what joy awaits me around the corner. I'm not alone. I have so many wonderful people who love me, who bring me joy. I have so many great resources inside me that can work together to help me get over this. And because I changed my thoughts and did some other healing work, I began to feel joy again. And not just in little drips and doodles, but in big, expansive ways. So big, it surrounded me. I lay awake at night in the wonder of it, feeling completely at one with God and the universe and my heartbeat, which was still beating after all. It wasn't broken. It was amazing. And since then, I've been living in this wonderland of joy. It's become part of my environment. So you never know, right? Still, we know a lot about happiness and what makes us happy. It's been researched for over 100 years. Not like Boethius, but still, 100 years is pretty good in time. Some of the factors that can help predict happiness include our health, our gratitude, our personal growth, and our relationships. In addition, regularly engaging in meaningful activities and self-care promotes lasting happiness and personal fulfillment. Other things that make us happy are practicing mindfulness, gratitude, and performing acts of kindness. But what is the most important predictor of happiness? According to a Harvard study of over 80 years, it's good relationships. Because good relationships keep us happier, healthier, and help us live longer, I want you to answer another answer on your card. Think of someone that you love, not just a little, someone you love a lot, preferably someone who is alive. Picture that person's face. Reflect on how fortunate you are to have this person in your life. Remember how you feel when you spend time with this person or talk to them. What's one thing you could do to improve this relationship, to deepen it, or to show the person how much they mean to you? Write that down. Choosing to be more loving to someone you love and who loves you is sort of like trying to make more room in your life for joy, except you're doing it allegedly for someone else. And if you practice it and it makes a difference, you stand to benefit as much as the person that you love. Because it's always a triumph when the people we love feel that love. Then we know we're doing something right. Our families and friends, as well as the other people we've come to love, these are the people along the ride with us. These are the people we don't want to live without. Think about what it could mean to them if you found a way to make them feel more loved in 2026. One last question for your index card. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and then I'll tell you what the question is again. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're sitting alone. In one hand, you hold the difficult parts of your life, the things you struggle with. In the other hand, you hold your joy and wonder. What is the kindest, most generous gift you can give yourself in 2026? Is it a superpower that enables you to set a goal and follow it through the whole year? Is it a burden you need to let go of? Is it a light that will lead you to greater happiness or fulfillment? Is it a change in your behavior that affirms someone you love? Or is it a change in your behavior that affirms you, just as you are? A way of seeing yourself as worthy of grace and of giving yourself that grace. A letting go of perfectionism and self-criticism. A way to offer yourself the kindness and compassion you'd like to also share with your friends. So the question I want you to answer is, what is the kindest, most generous gift you can give yourself in 2026? So the next thing I was going to say had to do with resolutions, but since only 2 of you have kept them, I might, or have set them, I might move ahead here. But let's see here. So I said, maybe you want to start on January 5th with a new resolution, because although the new year is a tempting time to start or stop doing something, it's artificial. It's an artificial beginning. It's linked to time and to the past, present, and future. It's not the way Lady Philosophy says is the way of the eternal. Maybe it's too much to try to hold our past selves, our present selves, and our future selves in the moment with love, forgiveness, grace, and the hope that things can get better, that you can make them better. Maybe we can't be that much like God. But even if we can't be that much like God, I believe that most of us have superpowers. We can forgive ourselves and others. We can let go of resentments and envy. We can be more accepting of ourselves and others. We can figure out ways to be happier. We can explore ways of being more loving. We can reflect on how we're living our lives. We can make different choices. As I said earlier, I had one great year of making a New Year's resolution and living up to it for that year, so I'm certainly not a role model for making resolutions. And whether or not you make any resolutions as a result of your answers on your index cards isn't as important as the answers themselves. The naming of your superpower wishes, the burdens you'd like to be done with, the joy you'd like to claim, the love you'd like to share with your loved ones and with yourself. You've brought these things from your unconscious into your conscious mind. You've exercised power over them, brought them into being. You've claimed some control you may not have felt before. And isn't that personal power what resolutions are all about? Believing we can change our lives with little steps in the same direction, whether we do them every day or with irregularity, we still benefit. Whether we live up to the rigid standards of a New Year's resolution, or whether we simply carry a mindfulness with us of all our abilities. I admit I spend a lot of time thinking about resolutions, making lists of what I need to get done in a day or a week or a month. I've come to observe it with some humor, but also to respect that I'm a perpetually optimistic person when it comes to new beginnings and the changes I might like to make. For you today, I've thought about resolutions differently. Thanks for playing along, for exploring new ways of thinking about how we make choices we hope will create better lives.
That's a lot. Is this on? Now we got it? There we go. That's a lot to digest, but we wanted to allow a few minutes. We've got 5 minutes or so. If you want to give Kiki a little feedback from what you wrote or what you think.
I had never met you till this morning. I found you very inspiring, and you gave me so much to think about. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen.
Not so much a comment, but a question. What was the name of the book again that you mentioned of the?
The Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius. Boethius.
Thank you.
Yeah. Find a translated version. It's very short. It's like 100 pages or something. Don't try to read an original. Chaucer translated it, and even Chaucer's version is very hard to understand Old English, but you can. The Consolation of Philosophy. It's like a Job story. It's really remarkable.
Well, I felt good in one aspect. I passed the Harvard test. I put down to expand my circle of friends.
There you go.
So that was kind of interesting.
Oh, cool.
That's what owls comes in.
That's right.
Anybody else want to make a comment? I knew you'd say something, Pam.
I'm not going to say a word. I don't make resolutions, but what you've said today is exactly what I've been thinking about. All of this stuff about letting go of anger or resentment and finding, because I'm old, and making paths toward the future, or whatever there is, you know. So it was, thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. I liked how the hymn talked about honoring time, and that time passages, that time continues to pass, and we need to honor the fact that that's about time. And then that's giving us a choice of what are we going to take with us, instead of feeling like we're just victims or whatever, that we can make choices to have better lives so that the rest of our years are the years that we want. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I really appreciated your talk. And I know for myself, for years and years, I've been pondering this whole business of human behavior. And I'm loving that the Be Kind motto is turning up everywhere. Mm-hmm. Because when I look back at my own life, every moment I've not been kind has come back and bit me. Mm-hmm. In the long run. And that's an amazing thing, to take responsibility for my own unhappiness. Mm-hmm. And thank you for your talk.
You're welcome. Thank you. And forgiving ourselves for the ways in which we fail is an important thing too, to let go of, to let go of those moments when we failed ourselves and others, and say, I was only human.
Now I don't have to talk next week. But how do you do that? How do you let go of? I can recognize all those things that I want to let go of, the resentment or the whatevers. But how do you do that?
So
that's the problem.
You're a different person now than you were when you did those things, right? You're not the same person, and we all have limited resources, and maybe at the time when you did those things, you were struggling with other things, and so you weren't your best self, or you couldn't bring your best self to the moment, or you didn't have the knowledge or the wisdom. So recognizing that past, present, and future, our younger selves are often growing. And some of those growing things have taught us lessons and prevented us from doing some of those things in the future and in the present. So even though we remember our failures, sometimes they serve this important purpose and have made us, in the end, better at many things because we failed. If we didn't fail, we wouldn't necessarily learn those lessons. And the fact that you feel that sense of prickling of the conscience is what you have to celebrate. Well, at least I feel now, because there's some people that, as you know, don't have a prickling of conscience and don't feel that sense of, I'm doing something, I could be doing something wrong here. So the fact that you can recognize if you have made mistakes is a big sign of personal growth. And so I didn't always like myself, but I can like myself better now. I can, you can say, I didn't always like who I was, but I like who I've become, or it was necessary for me to get here today because of what I went through. And think of yourself as your best friend. If your best friend came to you and told you, I was a terrible person and I did this terrible thing, you would not say, well, you're not going to be my friend anymore. You would say something loving and gracious to them. You would say, well, at least you're the person you are now. So think about talking to yourself that way and saying, you know what, I'm gonna be okay.
Shout it out. Or think of yourself as your own child. Like, how would you respond to your child?
Right.
How would you be loving to yourself?
And to other people?
Right.
Because it's the other people maybe you have resentment for.
Right. And some other people some people that we have to deal with in our lives are not rational, and some people are not able to, you can't have the moment with them that you want to have with them, but that doesn't mean you have to let it cloud your life. That's the way I think of it, but I'm not an expert in these things.
Okay, thank you, Kiki.
Thank you.
Thanks for your feedback.
Just a comment from Zoom. Mary Adams wanted to say, I love the wise woman you have become.
You know Mary Adams, right?
So Mary Adams is one of my mom's best friends and knew me from when I was a baby. So yes, thank you, Mary.
If you would please stand if you are able, and we will sing number 350, Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time, and remain standing for the extinguishing of the chalice and the benediction, and then we can sit for the postlude. Please stand if you're willing and able. Number 350. This is new to us, but it's a singable tune, and Lizzie gives a real short introduction, so we come right in with it. So you'll get it by the second verse. The ceaseless flow of endless time, and no one can check or stay. We'll do the past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past, and dreamlike melts away. The breaking of tomorrow's dawn begins anew today. The past and future ever meet in the eternal now, to make each day a thing complete shall be our new year vow. Thank you. Would we read together, please, the extinguishing of the chalice as printed in your order of service? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of the community, or the firmness of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Hear these words of benediction as printed in page 697 and 679 in the hymnal, a Buddhist reading. Be ye lamps unto yourselves. Be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves as to the only lamp. Go in peace. You may be seated.